to, you know.
Young lady, you don't make friends around here. You make acquaintance.
This is the first time I've been here.
I think it's, to be honest, very cold, you know. I find most people here to be generally quite cold, you know. No one looks at anybody when they're traveling on either the subway or the streetcar or the bus, whatever. Just wrapped up in their own little thing, and that's it.
I got nothing to hide towards nobody, you know.
My name is Robert Harris. I'm going to be 34 years old in 5 weeks.
Are you coming here often?
Not often. I've only been in a situation where I've been forced to come to shelters in about the last 3 months. Previous to that, I've always had a roof over my head, I've always had a job, I've always made money of some kind or another. But it just seems like last year things have gone from bad to worse. I've been a security guard for about 8 years, and you have to be licensed. I even had a job waiting for me, but I have a case pending in court, and they refused to license me because I have this case pending in court. You can't work without being licensed, and they won't license me unless I get acquitted of this charge in court. So although I was hired in October, I haven't been able to work. So if I was able to work, I would have been able to have the funds to move somewhere and improve my situation, not be forced to be in these shelters. I'm pretty much at the bottom of the barrel now. I can't get a hell of a lot worse, but the only way it can get worse is if I have a serious injury or something. So although I may not sound very optimistic right now, I know it's going to get better. I have a few things in the works. Hopefully, things can work out. I can be in a better position and start getting my act back together. Probably, the bottom line is that I got too messed up on drugs. Now, I think I have it under control now, but seems like every time I get money, instead of putting it towards the things I'm supposed to, I spend too much of it on drugs. So I ended up in shelters.
Untruthful people, liars, trying to enter into my pockets unrightfully, unlawfully, constantly bickering, yelling, screaming, because they're not getting their gist out of life, so they pickpocket me to try to get a pass, get a dinner, get a bed, you know, try to make it and stuff. You know, try to cut my arm off so that they could get their way through in life on a day-to-day. Or to hurt me, hurt people emotionally, say nasty remarks, you know, like, oh, you're foolish, or you don't make any sense, so that, you know, by hurting others, they could clear their way through down Young Street or down Elm Street or whatever. Like to hurt, to deceive, to cheat, to lie. Like all those things that are nasty. To continue on in an evil way to pursue their own career.
Well, what else can I say? I'm a tool and die maker, mechanical engineer. I worked for Ford Motor Company in Dearborn, Michigan 4 years, designing a prototype car. Then I opened my own shop in Windsor, Ontario, tool and die making. I sold that, went to Elliott Lake as a miner from 1953 till 59. Then I quit. I came back to Toronto. Oh, I went to O'Reilly. I bought me a garage. Also, I'm a car mechanic. And I sold the garage. I came to Toronto. And I worked in different companies. You have to work for a living, no? Then I opened my own again. So, it's kind of a mixed up life. I hang myself next time. They won't be any next time.
When this happened, I couldn't believe it happened. I was hoping it was just one big nightmare. Until the next day I found out I got a phone call from the police telling me that my parents had got killed in the accident. And it's still a shock.
Right. I've been on my own since I've been 12, so yeah, pretty much. You know, you have to grow up fast. You have to, learn things, that you never would, experience. And, I don't know. It's just, I know most of the people around because I've been out on the street, for the past 6.5, 7 years,
Homelessness really depends, I think, how you define homelessness. And the most common definition that's quoted is that of the World Health Organization or the United Nations definition, which includes not only people who live on the street, but also people who live in forms of housing which do not meet the United Nations basic standards of access to safe water and sanitation, security of tenure, personal safety, affordability, and within reach of employment, education, and healthcare. And so homelessness then becomes a continuum, and it's probably a seasonal continuum in Toronto proper. We see about 120 people a night sleeping in shelters, doorways, on steam gratings, etc. But that number goes up in the summertime.
Since we got kicked out of what we call the hole in the wall over there in Nicholas Street. It's a little small, but it's not too bad. I'm going to insulate it for the rest of the winter. Hopefully we can make it through there without getting moved. Snow. Anytime I'm ready to work, it's just a matter of finding work. I'm choosy about work though. I ain't going to just take any job on because I've been abused in a lot of different jobs I've been into. I take advantage of my hard work and that being underpaid, so I ain't going to bother working again when I'm underpaid. I mean, I'm a hard worker. I've done a lot of jobs, restaurant to construction, pool and stirring, tree care, and when I'm underpaid, that to me it's just like slavery. I'm retired from criminal activity. I've been retired for quite a while. I've spent a lot of time inside. Spent better part of my life inside. 5 years as a juvenile, another 1.5 years in provincial, another almost 3 years in the federal system. And this is I can do a lot of crime, but I won't do it because it's not worth it. I'd rather beg now than what I'm doing, what I used to do.
There are clearly more visible homeless people and underhoused people on the street decade of the 80s, despite the massive sort of economic growth and the amounts of money that were flowing around, saw a growth in poverty and a growth in unemployment, significant growth in food banks and people dependent on food banks at least part of the time. They saw the conversion of low rental units into the phenomenon called gentrification, which placed a lot of low rent housing and hotels. They went out of the market. They also saw deinstitutionalization, particularly from psychiatric hospitals and long-stay institutions, so that there are now visibly more people on the streets than there were at the beginning of the 80s. And there are more people who are in the position of being unemployed, and the social income really does put a large majority of those people below what's called the low income cutoff, where the amount of money they have available for food and other necessities after they've paid rent is clearly inadequate to meet their basic needs. So a lot of people are probably poised on a knife edge of homelessness and insecurity around homelessness.
Good Shepherd Refuge was opened in 1963, 412 Queen Street East. And it was opened at the request of the Archdiocese of Toronto, who were concerned about the number of men at the time who were sleeping rough. Like many cities that experience urban renewal, renovation, and modernization, Toronto, the result of that was many boarding houses, many apartments, many hotels were demolished to make way for more modern, efficient buildings and things like that, and not necessarily for people space. So there was a growing number of homeless people here in Toronto at the time. The Little Brothers of the Good Shepherd, who were founded in Albuquerque, New Mexico, specifically to care for homeless people, were invited then to open the house. Brother Mark, the present director, was one of the first brothers here, with 3 others. And since that day, we've been working continually, providing a place to sleep out of the cold, a place to eat, clothing, and of course, some very good meals. And although there are many places in Toronto that help the street people and the homeless people, all these places are possible because other people care. Again, we're helping those in need on behalf of those who care, and it's true to us, it's true to the Salvation Army, to the Scott Mission, and to any other mission, St. Francis Table. All of us are in the same situation where we depend on the people of Toronto to help us.
It's not bad coming here. I come here pretty well every day, you know. Like, it's not bad. Like, I come here pretty well every day or every other day, you know.
Yeah, this is my home for the next 2 weeks, actually.
You have to help each other. If we don't help each other, ultimately we destroy ourselves.
And I think the guys that are here are the victims and not the culprits.
One of the major problems is the one common denominator of people that come to this type of facility is a sense of worthlessness, a sense of I don't belong anywhere, a sense of very low self-esteem. And this is a nice place. We try to keep it as clean as possible, and it's all for a reason. It's all to show them they are worth it. This is for them. And they're worth a dignified place to eat. They're worth a clean bed. They're worth a chance to take a shower. These are rights that are given, that I believe are ours by the right of birth. For those who are religious, I would clearly say they are God-given rights. For those who claim no religion, they are rights of birth. Every human being has a right to walk on this earth, to be safe, to have a clean environment, a healthy environment, to proper food. And there are many people who cannot achieve this by themselves for various reasons. And that brings us to another category of people that come to us, those who have very strong emotional problems, in and out of psychiatric hospitals. And they may not be sleeping on the street, although some of them are, but they just can't manage. And they come, again, mainly for companionship, somebody. You may see John in the corner who doesn't want to talk to nobody. He's not here to talk to you, he's not here to talk to me. But he likes the company. He knows he's not alone.
There are also, at any one time, 4,000 to 4,500 people sheltering in the hospital system, maybe 32,000 in a year, but in any one night, 4,500 people. 17,000 people estimated to be in rooming houses, and several thousand more in various forms of housing, from rooms to rental units, which may be unsafe or unaffordable or insecure. Surveys that have been done of that group by Anishnalvi, by the Addiction Research Foundation, by Street Health, show that some of them meet the stereotypes. In the Street Health survey, about 1 in 4 did have a psychiatric diagnosis at some time in the past, ranging from depression through to psychosis and schizophrenias. Depression was one of the commoner ones. But by and large, the health problems facing that group are much the same as the health problems facing the housed. It's just they happen to have more of them. My suspicion would be that the more homeless a person is, the greater the likelihood that they either have developed problems as a result of being homeless. For the street kids, Addiction Research Foundation surveys and YouthLink surveys suggest that the more on the street they are, the higher the likelihood that they'll be using alcohol or other substances. Quite high uses of cannabis and cocaine, higher than average uses of heroin and alcohol. Likelihood of trading sex for a place to sleep, prostitution. Who really knows, but Street Outreach Services, one agency working with kids in Toronto, has about 500 youths on their sort of service roster at any one time. Significant numbers, and large enough also that organizations, the Y, have set up offices in the bus terminals to try and greet kids who are coming in, running away to the big city. They will try and meet them, put them into hospitals or counseling, in touch with helpful people, so that they don't get picked up by would-be pimps or entrepreneurs who seek to exploit them in other ways. So there are a number of services for kids on the street, and the various levels of government provide support and grants and operating funds to those agencies. The health department provides grants and condoms and needle exchange programs, much of which goes to a younger clientele rather than an older clientele.
You have to, think optimistic. You got to put your mind to work and your body to work and get things done. Everybody's all together in a group. Everybody's friends, with one another, and it's like family. You help each other out. If somebody needs a sleeping bag for the night, you give them yours. It's very rough on us too, because we'd have police officers coming up, and wanting us to vacate the building or whatnot. So we would have to find another line because they'd stick around and they'd watch us to make sure we wouldn't go back in the building and stuff. So it was kind of rough. Some nights were pretty cold. Be all wrapped up in some doorway and sleeping in apartment buildings. I've done that before. Sleeping on the carpet in the hallways. Sleeping in like warm little cubby holes, that have doors on them. That's the walls are nice and warm, and you can sleep in. Where people put the garbage and stuff. When I was younger, it was kind of hard to get a place. I've I've stayed at friends' places, and that's why I say I don't like to impose on any of my friends. It's because when it first started out, me having to move out, getting in trouble with the law and stuff like that, and then I was out on my own at 12 and a half. I've always, went to my friend's house, and then I've sort of like ran out with friends, My friend would say, well, I'm sorry you can't stay here this long, and because I was only 12, I couldn't collect social, I couldn't collect financial stability for myself.
There's one girl who came up to me and she more or less cried for help. She wanted to get out of it. There's about 18 girls so far that have actually came up to me and told me that they want to stop doing this and that they're coming to me for help. And I just don't, and I want to help them, I want to, but the problem is if I, the only thing that's terrifying me is that all their pimps know me as well, and the only thing that bothered me was that if I was to try and help any of these girls as much as I wanted to, that their pimps would come after me. So that was the only scary part. But I managed to get one girl away from it, and now she's got her life back on track. I helped her get a place. I helped her get a roof over, get some food into her, and now she's doing great. She's married right now. She's got a child on the way, and we've been the best of friends ever since.
I have to learn how to deal with it with, the people that are around me. The people that are around me, and I have to learn how to cope. I have to put up the defense mechanisms, and I have to learn how to cope with the situation, with the alcoholic situation.
We do not know how to communicate to keep people in a healthy environment of life. We give up. The father and mother give up on their children because they're not what they thought they should be. Who said they had the right to decide what they were to be? The children are so hurt because they can't measure up to the expectations of the mother and father that they become bitter and they walk away, and they end up in places like Covenant House. There's all lack of communication.
I don't know. I pretty much keep to myself because
I hardly know my own family at all. Mommy, she was 105 on 14th of December. I phoned her for a birthday. I do phone her every year. She told me something nice. Yeah. You don't know my mommy?
And how old are you?
Hey,
How old are you?
53. Yeah.
What that does to another human being, not to have a job, whether they're male or female, their whole lifestyle has to change. And people in this country, in America, are beginning to see that. We've been very protected, but they begin to see how painful it is of not to have a job. And that, after the job goes, communication goes too. Again, expectation, the guilt of one party thinking that you're supposed to be providing, and it's a vicious, vicious circle. We have elderly people, we have middle-aged people, we have young people. Fortunately, we do not see too many children, but in other houses I've been to, families were very common. The percentage of women versus men is much lower here than other places I've been to, and that's good too. Well, I think there's more facilities in Toronto for women, and that's happening now. And the fact is, the number of homeless places throughout the world, I am sure, have increased, not decreased. The awareness has increased too. I was always interested in occupations of people, what they were. We had a lot of teachers for some reason that year. I think I could have had 3 English teachers in here. I said, what happens to people that English teachers. But I've met doctors, I've met lawyers, I've met accountants, I've met former priests that just left everything and went on the road. It can be overwhelming. I remember when we built the house and it was brand new and it was very nice. And a few people commented when we reopened this place, is all this necessary? You know, if it was for your son, would you want less? If it was for your neurotic uncle, would you want less? If it was for yourself, would you want less? Don't ask me, is all this necessary?
I wish this didn't have to happen. It's just, you know, I mean, that's not the way I would want to go.
So if I was able to work, I would have been able to have the funds to move somewhere and improve my situation, not be forced to be in these shelters.
I would like to work a few more years if I'm lucky. Alive. I don't want to get sick. Never been sick.
Oh, I just have my friend there and my other friend over there, and that's all. And I got some stuff here, you know, a couple of things here, my bags and stuff, you know, to help me carry it around and stuff.
I pretty much almost graduated. I got to grade 11, so I dropped out 4 exams. So I have to do a grade 11 refresher, and I have to go to a grade 12. My actually main future goal is to be an architect.
I moved out to Victoria. I quit my job here in Toronto. Things didn't work out, so then I came back to Toronto. Didn't have a job, didn't want to ask my parents for money. So I ended up staying upstairs in the hostel here for 31 days. Started to get things back together, and asked my brother Maliki, who runs the kitchen, he asked me if I wanted a job temporarily, of course. So I decided to take it. I've been working here ever since. But the bad news is I'll be leaving in about 2.5 weeks.
What is that?
I've got another job in electronics, and that's my field. You get to know them, you get to talk to them. A lot of the times, they just need a friendly ear, somebody to listen to them, and it does make a difference. I've learned to be a little more open with people, to treat people as people, like everybody's unique. So I guess in a basic, I've learned tolerance.
I'm unemployed right now, and it's something to do, and it makes me feel good about doing something while I have the time off. I'm doing it also because I have a lot of pleasure doing it in a way that it's not such a selfish act. It's a give and take, and I do receive satisfaction from doing it. So.
A lot of the people that come through the hostel, they just stay their 14 nights and then they move on. There are some people that, again, it depends on the circumstances, we'll let them volunteer in the kitchen. So if they've got work where they can get paid elsewhere, we encourage them to go work and get paid and get back on track again. If they've got to do their job search, if they've got to go look for an apartment, we give them the time off that they need, because that's what we're here for. We appreciate them volunteering, but our main goal is to get them back on their feet. The hostel upstairs is one of the cleanest and neatest to find in the city. Instead of being a dormitory style, they each have their individual rooms. It's walled in on 3 sides. They've got a bed, a table, a chair, their own personal locker. They have locker facilities upstairs. When they come in, everybody must take a shower. And then once they have their shower, they get their coffee and donuts.
I take one day at a time, and hoping that eventually I can succeed later on in life. You know, get my own thing going. I like to get my own thing going.
Previous to that, I've always had a roof over my head, I've always had a job, I've always made money of some kind or another. But it just seems like last year things have gone from bad to worse.
I don't know what to do. I don't know whether or not I'm coming or going. I'm confused.
I miss the work. I worked all my life. Always having stuff. No.
Do you have children?
No.
Who was it? Was it Jimmy Carter or somebody said we want a gentler America? You know, we need a gentler way of looking and working and communicating with people. Then there could be hope of places like this being obsolete. But until that happens, it's never going to happen.
So what? You don't live around here? Oh. So you're just taking pictures today? Just today? Well, pretty well all day, or?
Yeah.
Pardon?
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say to you?
What is it you want me to say?
Woo, man. Oh, yeah. Unforgettable.
Okay, I'm Sonny. This is what I like doing in my spare time, athletics.
Now? Okay, hi, this is Lester Earl coming to you live from Cabbagetown.
Lynn Smith, Miss,
Miss Smith. How old are you?
36.
Robert Harrison.
Paul Major,
And how old are you?
75.
Pardon?
What's your name?
Donald Powell.
Are you coming here often?
Yes.
Every day? For a long time?
Yeah. For a while.
Do you have any friends around?
Yes, ma'am.
Richard DeFederico.
Also do Terry Fox race too. This is a Terry Fox race. I do my Terry Fox every year too. But right now, it's the weather here and no races going on right now for me. Until next year, see me. Hope I do some good races and bring some force and stuff. I don't want to bring last.